Okay, so there's a bit of confusion about how buff duration interacts with the skill Infinity. If you didn't know, Infinity is this mage attack buff that lasts for 40 seconds, and every 4 seconds it gets stronger, so you start doing more damage as the skill progresses. And there's generally two ways that people think buff duration interacts with the skill. Either one, like by increasing the length of Infinity, you give it more stacks, and so you start doing more damage like per line, like the more buff duration you have. And the second way that it could work is that Infinity will always stack up to 10 times, and by increasing the duration of the skill, you're only increasing the length that each stack lasts. So you won't necessarily be doing more damage per line with more buff duration, but you'll be doing it over a longer period of time instead. So what I've done is that I've chop changed to Bishop, right? But I haven't put any points into buff mastery here, so by adding points into the skill I can get up to 50% more buff duration. So what I'm going to do is just test my damage with Infinity without buff duration, and then once again with buff duration, and then compare the damages. If it's around the same damage, like maximum damage per line, then it's still stacking up 10 times, it's just that it lasts longer. But if giving myself more buff mastery also increases the maximum damage per line by like a significant amount, with a little bit of error, then it could mean that Infinity is actually giving me more stacks, and buff duration just like works in the first way that people think instead of the second way. And I have kept into account that buff mastery also increases your magic attack. At max level it increases it by 30, so when I do this test I'm going to be using two different staves that have a difference in attack of 30. So not going to say that this is going to be conclusive evidence, but I don't know, according to like what I find, this is what I'll conclude to be true. So let's see how this works out. Okay, so what did we find out? Well, I did this test 4 times each, and the maximum amount of damage per line that I can do without buff mastery maxed averaged out to be about 15.74 mil, so keep that in mind. Without buff mastery, the most I could do was 15.74 mil. And moving on to with buff mastery maxed, the most damage I can do then averaged out to be about 18.62 mil. So with buff mastery, with that extra 50% buff duration, I'm doing almost 3 mil more damage. And so if you disagree with this video, or you have a different type of test and come to a different conclusion, let me know. But as far as this video is concerned, buff duration is definitely allowing Infinity to get more stacks and give you more magic damage.